Hey everyone, this is episode 3 of my Halloween 2015 Horrothon, where my goal is to watch at least one horror film a day, and I start on the first day of fall, which was September 24th, and I will complete it on, obviously, Halloween, October 31st, but that doesn't mean I can't watch more than that, but my goal is to at least, minimum, watch one movie a day. I've been really sick, so I've actually had a lot of time where I've been laying in bed watching movies, so I'm already, I think, on like number 21. So I've watched 21 films since the 24th. So that's quite a few movies in the past few days. But I've been, knocking out a bunch because I'm sick and I'm just don't have anything else to do but lay in bed. So, so excuse me if my voice is kind of, it's hard for me to talk right now. But anyway, so this bunch in episode 3, there were several movies. There was one that I really didn't like, but there were several that I absolutely loved, that were first time watches, and just, loved them, loved the movies, thought they were great. So, so I'll be talking about those, but go through them really quickly here and just give you some thoughts on each. But the first one I watched was, and I'll do these in order that I watched them, is Cellar Dweller. That movie right there. It had Jeffrey Combs in it as well. So, and he had a kind of a cameo type appearance, which surprised me because I didn't even realize he was in it. I hadn't looked at the back or anything, but the movie looked great on Blu-ray, and I really liked this movie. I maybe have seen it, but I can't remember because I watched a lot of these movies when I was a kid from the video store, but I couldn't remember it, but the story was awesome. I love the idea of the cartoonist, drawing for kind of an old, horror comic, and the cartoons coming to life, and the setting of it, and the practical effects. It was a lot of fun to watch. I really, really enjoyed the movie. Really cool creature in it, and yeah, the movie was a ton of fun. I would highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. I haven't watched Catacombs yet. I've never seen that one. I'll be getting around to it, but Cellar Dweller definitely was a big surprise. Loved it. So next up, It Follows. I had seen this in the movie theater, and this was a second viewing of it, and I loved it. Again, I liked it the first time. I loved watching it the second time. There's some stuff I noticed the second time too that I didn't necessarily notice the first time. But I mean, everybody says the same thing. Obviously, the soundtrack is amazing. I have it on my computer. I listen to it all the time. But atmosphere is great. The way it's shot is great. Kind of that feeling of not really knowing what time frame it takes place in. It feels like the 80s, but it's not really the 80s. It's really cool the way that he did that. But I thought it was a fantastic movie. I think it's kind of a love or hate it. There's a lot of people maybe who kind of don't like it, but I loved it. So thoughts on It Follows. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Next up, okay, so this movie was horrible. If you like it, I'm sorry. I'm just going to give you my honest opinion. I did not like this movie at all. There were some parts, I guess, that I liked, but overall, I mean, I know it got bad reviews and stuff, but I went into it with an open mind, and I did not like it that much. The plot was all over the place. The characters, I didn't really care about anybody in the movie. The funniest thing was the parents seemed to not even care that their daughter was abducted. It was so bizarre to me, but Sam Rockwell was good in it. He was funny. But yeah, there was never a feeling of dread. It was just this feeling of, oh yeah, there's ghosts, and they're not really that scary. They're not really going to do anything to anybody. Kind of a feeling. It wasn't that big of a deal. And the clown part, which the clown was very cool. I dug the way they did it with his nose being the pull string to make him talk and all that. But he was in it for literally like 10 seconds, so just big disappointment. The CGI tree was a big disappointment. Overall, I had some high hopes for this movie, and I was excited when I knew it was coming out, but I just did not like it. I'm sorry. So if you liked it, I apologize. The little girl was really good, too. I mean, there was good actors in it and stuff like that. I just really didn't care about it. So, yep, Poltergeist, and I did watch the extended cut. I haven't seen the theatrical, so I don't know what's different, but yeah, I don't buy it. So, but whatever. If you want to, just tell me what you think. So, if you have a different opinion, I love people's opinions, so let me know. I just personally didn't care for it. So, next up, I watched an episode of Tales from the Crypt. I'd gotten home late the other night and wanted to make sure I watched something. because I didn't have a lot of time to watch stuff that day. So I watched The Ventriloquist Dummy, and it had Don Rickles and Bobcat Goldthwait, so some awesome people in it, and it was directed by Richard Donner. And it's, if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil it, but you need to watch the episode. It'd been a long time since I'd watched it, and yeah, the twist at the end is awesome about the Ventriloquist Dummy. But it was a fun watch. I plan on watching some more Tales from the Crypt, but it was from season 2. I think it was episode 10. But yeah, really good. Ventriloquist Dummy. Loved it. This was a first time watch. I liked this movie. Aftershock, written by Eli Roth, directed by Nicholas Lopez. And Eli Roth actually stars in it. And, you know, I think Eli Roth's a good actor. I think he did a good job. I liked the characters in this movie, but it was kind of slow at first. You know, it was more of a party kind of movie, and then it turned into like an earthquake movie. But it's a horror film because there's a lot of horror elements in it. There's some gore and stuff like that. But I thought it was a good watch. It was entertaining. It wasn't the best thing I've ever seen, but I definitely enjoyed it. So it was good to get around to watching that one. Haven't seen it yet. Now this next one is probably one of my favorites of the bunch. All Hallows Eve is what I watched. So that one right there with the super creepy clown. Yeah, keep some of my movies in these sleeves, by the way, just for space sake. But All Hallows Eve was fantastic. I loved everything about this movie. I highly recommend it. It had that awesome Halloween feel. I'm a big anthology movie fan, and this one is it's in the top of my list now as far as anthology films go. Had never seen it. Been wanting to watch it. The clown is awesome. The little stories in it are awesome. I liked every single one of them. I like how they tie it all together. But yeah, All Hallows Eve, low budget, really, really good. You can't really tell it's low budget. It's filmed well, and I was reading about it, and from what I understand, the director actually took his short films that he had made, and that's what he put in here is the different segments, which is a brilliant idea, and I just loved it. And I heard that they're making a movie, or maybe they already have, about the clown from the movie. I forget his name, called Terrifier, which was what the original short was named. But yeah, I love crazy killer clowns, and this was a creepy and awesome one. Please watch All Hallows Eve if you haven't. You can get this for pretty cheap. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. I've never seen Mischief Night, but All Hallows Eve, huge recommendation there. This one, I didn't know what I was getting into as far as if it would be any good or not. It was called The Devil's Hand. And it had what kind of grabbed me. It was one of those cheap Walmart buys, but it had Rufus Sewell and Jennifer Carpenter and Cole Meany. I love all three of those actors. But it was basically about these 6 girls who, you know, were born on the same day to fulfill this prophecy about the end of the world kind of thing. But, you know, I didn't have high expectations, but I actually enjoyed the movie. It was fun. I mean, it's not the best, you know, horror film I've ever seen, but for what it was a cool setting taking place in kind of that, it was like Quakers, I think is what they were, you know, so it was a different kind of setting for a horror film. And I know there's other ones like Children of the Corn and stuff, but this one, I actually really dug the setting and the way they did it. And yeah, it was a fun watch. I recommend it. So if you see that on Netflix or something like that, definitely check it out. The acting was really good too. Next up, another one I had never watched and just got around to watching it, and it was Video Violence, the first one. This has both of them on it, but I just watched the first one. I'm going to get around to watching the second one. I loved Video Violence. I was so entertained. It like took me back to a completely different time and place, I felt like. You know, the 80s, which I have such nostalgia for growing up in the 80s. I'm 37 years old, so I was born in 77, so definitely was a child of the 80s and, you know, had those experiences in old video stores and stuff. Obviously not the experiences in this movie that happened to these poor people, but Video Violence, definitely 2 thumbs way up. Loved this movie. So much fun. So retro, so 80s, so awesome. Again, I think it was released by Camp Motion Pictures. Sorry, my phone's not really focusing. So if you have a chance to grab a copy of this, you can get it for pretty inexpensive. Great stuff. I love shot on video movies too. If anybody has any recommendations for me, I haven't seen a lot of them, but I'm a big fan of them. I think they're a lot of fun, and I appreciate people who make them and the art that goes into that. Really good stuff. So lastly, this movie, Nightmare City, I actually watched it last night. I know my boy Dennis on here. If you don't follow Dennis, shout out to him. Awesome channel. Love his reviews. He's actually doing 31 days where he does a review a day, watches the movie and reviews it. and so far he's done like 3, and they've all been, I think 3, something like that, but they've all been good. But Nightmare City, he watched it, I watched it as well. And yeah, I don't know what to say about this movie. It's interesting. It's kind of bizarre. The idea of the zombies, they're more radioactive zombies. We don't really do we find out how they got radiation? I don't know. They're on a plane. The plane lands. They get off. They look like toasted marshmallows. That's kind of what their face reminded me of. And yeah, then the fun ensues. But it was fun. I mean, it's definitely cheesy and goofy, and the gore in it is pretty. Not that much because the way they do the effects and stuff, but I enjoyed it. It was a fun watch. I had got a lot of probably unintentional laughs, but laughs out of it. And I'm a big fan of Italian horror. I think I'd seen this a very long time ago, so I didn't remember a lot about it. But this Raro video release, I will say, the transfer on it was beautiful. They did a great job on the film transfer. It looked amazing on Blu-ray, and the soundtrack in this movie, I would love to have the soundtrack. I don't know if it's available, I'll have to check, but yeah, loved it. And of course it's Umberto Lenzi, who a lot of you know, the director, awesome director. But yeah, this movie was interesting. The cover art, I'll show you just to kind of show off this DVD. And this Raro video release, I think you can get it for like $15 on Amazon. It's not expensive, and it comes with a booklet and everything, but had to show off the other cover art in here, if you can check that out. Just awesome stuff, and it also went by the name City of the Walking Dead, I believe. So yeah, Nightmare City, fun watch. If you haven't seen it, definitely one you need for your collection, like Dennis said as well. But as far as don't expect much, because it's kind of just goofy. The story's kind of all over the place, and the characters, and yeah, just a lot of fun though. So, well, that's it so far, guys. I've watched 21 movies so far since the 24th, so doing pretty good on my movie watching. But we'll see. I may slow down when I get to feeling better and I'm busier at work and stuff like that. So, but definitely be watching one a day. I'll get another video out to you guys soon after I watch some more movies. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts of these movies as well, and please subscribe if you haven't done that. And thanks again. I said in my last video, my Avengers unboxing, I'm over 100 subscribers now. I appreciate everybody. I love this community. It's great to be able to talk about movies with people who enjoy it. And yeah, so thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.